Welcome to another episode, everyone. And the headline here reads, Welcome to Hell, inside the Colorado Supermax prison. Apparently it's hell. Let's check it out.
A concrete hole barely 5 meters wide and 3 meters long. This is prisoner Eddie Mills' exercise yard.
When was the last time you saw, for example, a tree?
A tree? The last time I went to court in 1998, 8 years ago, I saw a tree. I was in a car and in a bus actually. And
Mike is allowed just 1 hour a day to...
Damn. Jeez. He said he saw a tree 8 years ago when he went to court. He saw a tree. So apparently, since then, he hasn't seen a tree or nothing else that resembles anything close to the outside world. There's no life in there. There's no life in prison. I'm saying natural life, like trees, bushes, green grass, shit that lifts your spirit and gives you life. Why do you think he mentioned a tree? Because it's just nature. And prison is devoid of nature and humanity.
to stretch his legs. He is serving his sentence in what is considered the harshest conditions of any prison in the United States, the so-called Supermax, maximum security system. Ironically, Pelican Bay Prison is located among the superb scenery of the towering sequoia trees of Northern California. 3,500 prisoners are doing time here. Murderers, rapists, violent criminals considered a threat to society at large.
Yo, these were sold out everywhere, but then my eBay alerts went off. Got them. Felt like
Sentenced to lengthy terms, often life, they are unlikely to ever leave the prison. Life in Pelican Bay is marked by clashes between rival gangs, often spilling over into extreme violence. Race riots, attempted stabbings in the exercise yard, and the settling of scores. Since the prison opened, 18 detainees have been killed, 5 of them shot dead by prison guards. Each week, the prison governors uncover more weapons made by the prisoners. Lieutenant Thomas keeps them as trophies.
And what you see before you here is just a small portion of...
Now I'm confused. He just talked about Pelican Bay and showed Pelican Bay in the riot, that famous riot in Pelican Bay. But of course, at first he was talking about Colorado. But let's continue and see what he's talking about here. What's going on? Are we in Pelican Bay, or are we inside the Colorado Supermax fucking prison? The hell?
Some of the weapons that have been discovered over time. Well, I'm wearing these gloves because inmates...
Wherever the hell they at, look at those weapons. Bone crushers. That's what I'm talking about. That's what they got there in prison. Nothing but bone crushers, bro. Either one of those knives will take your life. Especially hitting you in the right place, hitting you in the vein or whatever. But just going through your body is a wrap, man. Look at that shit. That's some serious metal. That's some serious iron there.
Keep these weapons stored in areas of their body that I don't want to have anything to do with at this point. And if you look up into the light on the X-ray, you can see that there's a half a pair of scissors that were secreted in this man's rectum.
Damn, you see that? Let's go back to that room. That's the knife that's inside of his. He keistered it, he hooped it, he stuck it up his rectum, as he said. That's the thing he stuck up his ass, man. To get it out to the yard, to shit it out on the yard, basically. Squat down, stick your hand back there, get it out, squat down, get it out, push, get it out, and then stab somebody with the motherfucking shit that just came out of your ass. That's prison, man. Stay free.
On the X-ray, you can see that there's a half a pair of scissors that were secreted in this man's rectum.
Illegal weapons, uprisings, and aggressive behavior. When they break the rules, prisoners pay an extremely heavy price. At least 2 years in an isolation cell in a part of the prison feared by all, the Supermax. White and shaped like an X, it's a high-security prison within a prison. No one has ever escaped from here.
The fence is deadly. If it's touched from the inside, say for instance from an inmate wanting to come in, go across the inner perimeter fence and touch that lethal death fence, it would be fatal to that inmate. The costs associated with running the fence are far less than the costs associated with manning the perimeter towers.
The Supermax is just 100 meters from the main building, a short distance away, but a dramatic change of regime.
There are no windows in the security housing unit. We do have windows in our general population cells. The security housing unit is designed in such a way that the inmates have only verbal access to other inmates. They never actually see other inmates unless they're coming out of their cell. Hey, what's going on, cuz?
Now Taxes is getting the TurboTax app and filing your taxes yourself 100% free.
We're coming into the security housing unit into C facility. This inmate's being escorted from another area in the prison coming this direction. As we pan around and walk this direction, coming down the long corridor.
Inside maximum security, the prisoners never see each other.
Okay, so this is Pelican Bay right here. This looks like Pelican Bay. I'm pretty sure. I've never been to Pelican Bay, but I'm pretty sure this is Pelican Bay right here. They were talking about Pelican Bay earlier, so I don't know why he said, welcome to hell inside the Colorado Supermax prison, unless he's going to head to Colorado at some point. But right now they're talking about security housing unit, which is the SHU. I was in the SHU, but in Corcoran, SHU, and Tehachapi SHU. They only have 3, Tehachapi, Corcoran, and Pelican Bay. SHU program, security housing unit. You go there for 2 years, 3 years, 1 year. They were holding people there for 20 years, gang leaders, until the protest, and then they begin to let them out. But this looks like we're in Pelican Bay SHU.
And the guards are usually unarmed in order to avoid hostage situations.
12 block corridor, please. All of the units in the SHU have a corridor control that runs and operates these doors coming into the units.
Inside block C12, it's lunchtime. There's no canteen in the Supermax. All meals are served in the prisoners' cells on plastic plates. There is no cutlery. The prisoners have to eat with their bare hands.
Hell, maybe this is Colorado. What the hell? I ain't never heard that. Prisoner got to eat with their bare hands. You can't even get a plastic fork or spoon or nothing. Got to eat with your hands, bro. Imagine that. Whatever the food is, fucking soup and shit. Shit, juicy ass shit on there. You got to pick up with your hands and eat it.
It takes 2 prison guards just 10 minutes to feed all 50 detainees in the block. Under the watchful eye of a 3rd guard, armed with a shotgun.
This is a population of inmate that has proven over time that they can't successfully come into a dining room with other inmates without there being trouble.
Extreme precautions, since according to the authorities, all of the prisoners here are murderers or dangerous psychopaths. Some cells in Block C12 are made from plexiglass to avoid prisoners targeting or throwing things at the guards.
There's a population of inmates within the SHU unit, the security housing unit, who have demonstrated over time that they want to use fecal matter, urine, different liquid substances to assault officers.
Behavior not unusual inside the Supermax, since some inmates, after years of this kind of detention, are bordering on madness. Sentenced to life for murder, Fernando Medina has spent 17 years inside the Supermax and now questions his own sanity. He's not only kept a good distance away, but he's also chained.
All these years being confined, has it taken an effect on me? Has it a psychological effect on me? Am I damaged in some way? I don't know. I've seen individuals like that too, where they snap psychologically, and they let the time get to them. I've seen individuals who, they just shut down. They refuse to participate in the program and they'll just shut down. They won't say anything to anybody else and they'll just sit there in their cell all day looking at the walls and they'll let their mind run away with them. If we let ourselves deteriorate, that's what'll happen to us.
Solitude, silence, and only the guards to speak to, often for a lifetime.
That shit's crazy. That's how it happens pretty much. I've seen it, we have all seen it, you know, people there in prison, particularly if you've been there in the SHU or even in the hole, or just in situations where you're constantly on lockdown, people will start losing their minds if they're not careful. You know, certain thoughts begin to creep into their minds, the walls start closing in on them, they start having weird thoughts. You know, you're talking about being in isolation for years. Look at this, they have to eat with their hands. So you're talking about being dehumanized for years. You know, if you're not careful, yes, absolutely, it can get to you and have you turning on yourself and others.
Mills was found guilty of violent hold-ups 7 times. Here, where he is serving a life sentence, he's considered a well-behaved prisoner. The camera was allowed closer for the interview, but still from outside his cell.
I think the biggest thing we probably all miss is just the human contact, being around and joke and play and shake a hand with other humans.
Eddie's done himself no favors in prison. A member of a neo-Nazi gang, he stabbed a fellow inmate 11 years ago, and he's been in solitary ever since. He's locked inside a cell with no windows 23 hours a day. To pass the time, he's been teaching himself Spanish and French, and his latest project, business law.
I go to bed about 9, I get up about 4 and study, and then I usually work out after breakfast. Between reading and actually studying, trying to memorize grammar or whatever it is I happen to be learning, like right now it's business law, so I have to learn the business law terms and memorize the different things in business law. I spend roughly 8 to 10, sometimes 15 hours a day studying, doing reading or studying.
Okay, that's pretty good. Studying business law. He said 8 to 10 to 15 hours he spends a day studying. But yeah, you see what he's saying. He's learning Spanish and this different stuff to break the monotony inside of that cell, to try to keep his sanity. That's what he's saying, to try to keep sane. You know, wakes up at a certain time at 4 in the morning. Typical, being inside of a SHU program, you're going to get up about 4. Exercise, like he said, right after breakfast. Some people exercise before breakfast and then start studying. That's just typical there in the SHU, but you really have no choice in order to, again, to maintain your sanity. But this is when, again, they were keeping people inside of the SHU program Again, we're clearly in Pelican Bay, so I apologize. I don't know why he said Colorado Supermax Prison. Maybe it was a typo or something. Maybe he meant Pelican Bay Supermax Prison. Unless I'm fucking confused or something. It looks like we're in Pelican Bay from the beginning. They're talking about the SHU, Security Housing Unit, and talking about Pelican Bay, showing the rise and all that, and I've never seen them skip to Colorado. We still in Pelican Bay. This is Pelican Bay. And so, because they were keeping people there in the SHU in Pelican Bay. But you see, they say he'd been there for 11 years after stabbing a fellow inmate. And he's a neo-Nazi gang member or whatever. Okay, fine. But he'd been there for 11 years, and this is when they were keeping people in the SHU program for 11 years, 15 years, and 20 years. They wanted people, human advocate groups, wanted people who had been released from the SHU program to be considered torture survivors. This is how serious the SHU program is. People really consider it torture. And it is in many ways. We went on some hunger strikes back in 2003. I've talked about this before. And to bring attention to the fact that they were holding gang leaders there in the hole in the SHU program for 20 years. Validating them. And once they validate you, they throw you in the SHU for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. Or if you stab someone, it's supposed to be a time limit to it. 15 months, 16 months in the SHU. Not 11 years. So now it's been outlawed. It has finally changed. It changed some years ago where they can't, he's for sure not in the SHU anymore, this guy here. They can't hold you in the SHU for 11 years anymore. 10 years, 5 years, none of that. A year, year and a half, you can get a 24-month SHU program or whatever. But they can't hold you back there for 10 years, 7 years, 6 years, 15 and 20 years anymore. Thankfully, because that shit was crazy and dehumanizing. It's crazy and dehumanizing. I understand that they committed a crime, most of them. Some people in prison are innocent, but most are guilty. I get it, and they're even in prison committing crimes. They are violent individuals. We are violent individuals. No one is about to feel sorry for them. Well, some people felt something because people were protesting this as inhumane, celebrities and all. But some people, I get it, they're not going to feel sorry for the fact that they're sitting in a SHU program for 11 years. Oh, well, don't commit the crime. I get it. But you still have to proceed with humanity. We're all human beings, regardless of our past.
For 1 hour a day, the door to Eddie's cell opens automatically to allow him out for exercise. We could only film him in the yard, and it's the only time of the day where he sees any fellow inmates.
We'll cuff him at the yard door.
The guards supervise the interview and allow us into the yard so long as Eddie is shackled.
Just go ahead to the back wall.
I'm a dangerous criminal and can't be left alone, huh?
Newman, can you close it down for just a couple?
That's it, though. He's on the...
For Eddie Mills, the exercise allows him his only glimpse of the open sky.
Sometimes I don't even come out. I don't even bother coming out because it's almost the same thing as a cell without books or without television or without anything. It depends on the mood. Sometimes it's good to come out here just to get away from the cell, a change of environment for a moment.
Do you understand the restraint, for example, being handcuffed while answering this interview?
I pose no threat to any of you.
Ooh, man, that's a hard life. Stay free, people. This is a hard life. The only time he even sees the outside is when he goes outside. There's no window inside of his cell. To even see the yard or the dirt outside, depending on what part of the yard your cell is facing. He doesn't even have that inside of the Pelican Bay SHU. And then when he goes outside, for his recreation, so-called recreation for an hour, he can't see the outside then either. Normally they have gates and shit, you know, where you can still see what's going on. He can. Instead, they just got some up there where he got to look up at the ceiling and just see the sky. These big ass walls, all he can just look up and see the sky. Break your fucking neck. Your neck gonna be crooked when you go back in your cell, just looking up, looking at the sky, trying to just see some life. For 11 years, this is how he living. This shit will drive you mad if you're not careful and are strong. It can have you hating people, hating life, hating all kind of shit. Even though I get it, you may have put yourself there. None of us are perfect.
At all. Never really did, but I can see where they would take the precaution to make sure that I don't pose a threat due to my other actions against other inmates or convicts or things of those in nature.
Like many detainees, Eddie goes through a vigorous exercise routine each day to keep in shape.
Burpees.
Do you have a non-alcoholic beer
that actually tastes good? I think you mean athletic.
While he is in the yard, the guards search his cell.
Whoops, up top. Looks like Mills likes to do his own laundry. With that line, they can hang their laundry up here to dry it out. We'll definitely tell him that it's not in the best interest of the cell or anything else to have it hanging there, and we'll take it from him. But if you want, you can come on in. This is a pretty typical example of one of our shoe cells. In this particular case, you can again see that the casing on the TV is clear. With a clear casing, we can see inside, see all the components inside the television, and make sure that we don't have any contraband stored inside the TVs.
Television, pens, and a few books are allowed. In theory, paintbrushes are banned, yet somehow Eddie has managed to produce some paintings.
I'm just checking stuff out that he seems to be using milk cartons and looks like little pieces of thread to make a paintbrush, evidently to do his artwork in paint. And this is his colors that he's using. Looks to be like a candy or Kool-Aid or something. Looks like he found a feather out on the yard. Maybe using that for some fine detail calligraphy work, but that is considered contraband, so we are going to take that.
Silly as it sounds, to the people that don't have a very keen understanding of the prison setting, something as simple as that feather, being as sharp as it is, could, in a sense, act as a dart tip for something flying through the cell and actually penetrate the skin.
That feather can be dipped in human secretion and darted out that hole and hit an officer or a fellow inmate. And 85% of these inmates in this institution are Hep C positive. Now, I don't want to have to go home after getting hit with human secretion by this and worry about my family and me having Hep C.
Throughout the United States, an estimated 25,000 maximum security inmates are detained in similar conditions. Eddie is unlikely to ever leave Pelican Bay prison. The best he can hope for is to be returned to a normal prison regime, depending on his behavior.
There it is.
My twin brother drinks Stella.
I have taste, David.
Spotter Studio is an AI software built to help YouTubers come up with video ideas, titles, and thumbnails based on data that...
All right, so there you have it. That's Pelican Bay State Prison, not Colorado. So that's okay. On the title, I had to put Pelican Bay, not the Pelican Bay shoe. That's where it's at. I don't know why you put Canadian Supermax, but that's Pelican Bay, and no windows inside of the cell. No access whatsoever to the outside world, as he said when he went to court 8 years ago, he got to see a tree. He was able to see a tree such as this. That's no life to live, people. Man, can you imagine? I mean, the strength that you would have to possess to live like that, you know, for decades. No human contact. You see what he said? He just wanted to shake someone's hand, sit around and joke with someone, just, you know, so he can feel alive, feel like he means something, feel like his life means something, man. That's what he's saying. He want to feel like his life means something. Not sitting there like some worse than a dog, caged up like this for fucking decades. But again, you know, they changed it now. They can't have you in there for that long now. So things are different. But that's no life to live, man. Stay the hell out. Stay safe and stay free, people.